All right, let's go ahead and get started. So actually, this is part two. I originally shot this video in Chesapeake City. I'm using a new camera, a Sony, and I'm trying to get used to using the camera. So I shot the full episode, and then the camera itself focused on the bridge that was behind me, and it made me real dark. So I'm gonna have to do this whole thing all over again, which is okay. So this is actually my backyard. This is my neighbors back here. It's a beautiful day, so we're gonna make this thing happen. So it doesn't matter, what type of issues that you run into. Sometimes you're gonna run into problems, and we're gonna keep moving with it. But we're gonna do this again. So the purpose of the episode today is to talk about this whole thing when someone tells you no. That can be a company, that could be a business, that could be a bank, something that you're trying to do and someone tells you no, you can't do it or it can't be done, and being able to overcome that. And I was thinking about that earlier this morning, and I'm like, yo, that would be a great episode for me to talk about that, because I run into that quite a bit, especially working with new clients, new people that call me that probably work with other banks or work with other mortgage companies. And they're saying that, hey, these other banks could not get me approved, or they told me that I could not qualify for a down payment assistance program, or I can't do this, I can't do that. And one thing that you'll realize about being in business, period, is there's exceptions. Everyone can look at your situation differently. And the benefit, once again, of me being a broker is the fact that we're able to work with a lot of different lenders. So say this set of lenders, these 10 lenders said that it can't be done. I may have another 5 lenders that said it can be done. So locking this into your head that when someone tells you no, sometimes you just have to look for another option or maybe even change your strategy. So that's what we're going to talk about today on the Mortgage Motivation Podcast, is how to overcome that word no. All right. So the first thing I thought about was I had a young lady, it's 2 months ago now. It's been about 2 months ago. She's a traveling nurse, and she reached out to a credit union. And as you know, most credit unions can make things happen. Sometimes credit unions can do some things that we can't even do even as brokers. But they told her that she would not qualify for a down payment assistance program under their umbrella, right? And the other thing is her credit score was a 570, and they told her no. So sometimes what you'll realize is that some loan officers, some banks, some lenders, they could take their time out to help you out with your credit. When it comes to a broker, we're independent, and all we do is write loans, write loans, write loans. So we want to work for our client, and that's one of the main reasons why I became a broker in the first place. So I can provide different strategies for my clients. I'm not really big with saying no. Like I said, I may have to switch some things up, go to a different lender, or change our strategy. But the whole thing with saying no or hearing no, or have my clients hear the word no, I got a problem with that. So what we did was, first of all, I wanted to know what was her vision? What was the outlook of her being able to purchase a property? And she told me that she's always wanted to own a home. Even though she's a nurse, she makes really good money. And she wanted to make sure that we understood how to analyze her income, and at the same time, what does she need to do to qualify for a mortgage? So the first thing we started off with was her credit. So I was able to put her credit in our credit analyzer at Affluent Mortgage, and we did a credit rescore. So we had to look at one of her credit cards, and actually it was only one credit card that was the issue. Her utilization was too high, and we spoke about that, guys. When you have high utilization on your credit, it's gonna drop your credit scores down. It's not you maxing out your credit all the time. It's not you being late on your credit card bill. It's when your utilization is too high. So we talk about the 20% rule. Anything below 20%, it should work out in your favor. So we put it through the credit analyzer, made a few changes. She had to pay down her credit card, like I believe around 150 bucks, and not increase her score by 40 points. So she went from a 570 up to a 610, right? So we took that 610. I'm like, okay, it's got to be something else we could do to boost that score a little bit more. So we made more adjustments to other credit cards that she had. She had to pay those down, and it wasn't right at 20%. Some was at 5%, some was at 10%. But we got her score all the way up to a 642 credit score, 642. And so with having a 642 credit score coming from a 570, she qualified for a lot more. The interest rate was a lot better. And we changed the credit score, and we also got her approved for a down payment assistance program. By us doing that, we got the down payment taken care of, and we also got the seller credit. Seller credit we got from the client, from the seller itself, and they paid most of her costs for her. So it wasn't 100% financing, but majority of her costs was covered. Originally, when she called a credit union, they told her no, so she thought that she couldn't purchase a house. Now, if she would have stayed with that mindset or took what they told her and for that no, right now she would not be a homeowner. And that's, to me, that's the problem. So when you hear that, look for another company that could give you a second set of eyes on whatever you're looking to do for, if there's an investment, if there's a loan or whatever. You want to try different companies and see who can get you all situated, or who's going to tell you what you need to do in order for you to qualify. And that was the biggest thing. So we did a hybrid of that. We didn't just say yes. So we took her situation, and not only did we get her approved, but we took her credit, which is going to go beyond her transaction, as well as we got her down payment assistance. And so now, like I said, she's a homeowner, she's satisfied, she's happy, and now she's telling everyone about Gary over at Affluent Mortgage. So I love to hear those type of stories. There's another situation where I had an investor, and he's been investing in properties for a long time now. And a simple question, he said, Gary, I want to find out, is it possible for me to transfer my current properties and put them into LLC? I reached out to my bank, and they told me no, it can't be done. I got to keep it into my personal name. There's no way I could transfer my loans into my LLC. I prefer to have my LLC because I don't want my debt ratios to be as high as it is right now, because I can't purchase anything else. So there's a few problems that is there. Now, there are different ways you could transfer your property into an LLC, but the easiest way that could be done, we took his properties and we did a refinance, because he was looking to do a refinance anyway. We refinanced his properties and we put them into what they call a DSCR, so debt service coverage ratio. And that will allow him to put his properties into an LLC, and we're not looking at any type of income document. So even though because he's not a full-time investor, he does a lot of transactions, but he still have a W-2 job. So we didn't go through any of his income, none whatsoever. The only thing that we were really concerned about was the property itself, just to make sure that the property is cash flowed. And what that means, just want to make sure you understand how that works out. So if you have a mortgage payment that say is $2,000 a month, but the rent itself is collected is at $3,000, that means that property is cash flowing, because the rent itself, the rent income that's coming in is more than the mortgage payment. So that put him in a really good position. So we was able to get all 5 of the properties taken care of, and now he's looking to purchase another property. We're gonna do the same thing. So when he purchased that property, we're gonna use because he doesn't have anyone that's staying in a property right now, but what we're gonna do is use the market rent. So what that means is when the appraiser go out to the house, he will say, look, this property should generate such and such a month. He was able to cash flow that property and put those properties into LLC. And that's exactly what he wanted, because like I said, he reached out to the bank and the bank told him it couldn't be done. And then he reached out to someone that just know what they're doing, and we got him set up the correct way. So once again, a loss of business from the bank. Now, I'm not saying that a bank or credit union want every type of business. No lender wants every business that's out there. They have their portfolio set for certain types of loans that they want. They may not want those type of transactions, so I totally understand. And if it wasn't for that, we've had a chance to get to know each other, and now that investor, we work together doing other projects. So I'm glad that it actually happened, because now I'm building up more and more clients because of the bank saying no and the credit union saying no, and honestly other lenders that just keep telling people no. So when they say no, I still try to find a way to turn that no into a yes. So, and that's what we're here to do. The last person that I want to tell you about is a single mom. She was living in North Philly, right? And she wanted to move to Delaware. She has 5 kids, and she wanted to move from the North Philly area to Delaware. And so she was like, look, Gary, I did reach out to my lender that I used before in the past, where I tried to get pre-approved for in the past, and they told me that I wouldn't qualify for a down payment assistance program. And that's the only way I could be able to make that happen. And I have money saved, but I don't have a ton of money. So what can I do? So the credit scores is fine. She actually had really good credit scores. The only thing is the money for the down payment. She didn't have all of that. So what we did was we looked at different programs. The program that's here in Delaware didn't really fit her situation. So we looked for a national program that we have access to. And we was able to get that done. Not only was she able to purchase a property, we got it done with her coming in at 100% financing. So she still had to drop a 3.5% down payment. But since we used that down payment assistance program, that covered her down payment. And we also asked for seller concessions, not a lot, but we got enough that was done where all of her costs was covered. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but the point is, by her reaching out to another option, she had a chance to be able to still purchase her home. Single mom with 5 kids, was able to move out of the environment that she was living in, no longer renting. She moved down here to Delaware. And like I said, a homeowner, the kids love the house, and she's actually looking to become an investor now. So we're really excited about that. And over time, we'll keep working with her and showing her what she needs to do so she become a real estate investor. So I run into these situations all the time. You know, I can go a full 3 hours and talk about a bunch of scenarios that I run into where we was able to help out a client go from either hearing no or their friends or family telling them that they can't do certain things. But the bottom line is, when you research, when you reach out to the correct team and you ask the right questions, you're gonna find a strategy that works. And I'm not saying that every single time someone tells you no, because sometimes it may be a situation where you may not qualify. And I will say, if your credit scores are low, you probably need to hold off from home buying. Let's work on the credit. If it's really, really bad, like, you know, in the low 500s, low 400s, work on the credit first, take care of that. The other thing is, I see if someone that doesn't have any type of money, none whatsoever, and they're looking to purchase a house, because it doesn't matter, even if you take on a down payment assistance program or the seller pays for all your closing costs 100%, you still need money to take care of your utilities. You still need money to move, which is a pretty large bill, right? You still need money for that. You want to have enough money that, you know, you can take care of your mortgage payment for a couple of months if you can. It doesn't always happen that way, but preferably have enough money set aside where you can make your monthly payments where it's not stressing you out for you to make your mortgage payment. And sometimes I tell people, hey, you may need to rent first until you figure out exactly what you want to do. It may be a situation where you're not sure if you want to continue to work the same job, or you're thinking about a career change, or there may be a lot of different things that's happening in your life where you need to make some changes and you're not sure if you want to be locked into a mortgage. So it doesn't always make sense for you to take on a mortgage. So my suggestion is, get with the pros. Let us help you come up with a strategy that's going to help you out. Come up with a strategy that makes sense so you could become what we could like to call mortgage ready as soon as possible. If you have any questions, you know, I love to talk about these things. Let me know what type of situation that you're running into. And even if you want to drop down in the comments and let me know, okay, what situations that you ran into and you just need some additional help about, or something that you did that you didn't feel real comfortable about, or what a bank told you or a credit union told you, let me know, you know, whatever that situation may be, let's talk about it. Look forward to working with you. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and we're gonna keep these things going, man. I'm excited about this. And yeah, this is my second time doing it. The first time I was in Chesapeake City in Maryland. And like I said, the camera did not work out. So we're back to the cell phone. We're gonna keep shooting on this until I can get the camera figured out. And then we're gonna go the whole switch over, because I like to have my cell phone in my hand when I'm working. But either way, look forward to working with you guys. Thanks for checking us out. Peace.